Hey, good evening. Welcome to the last Airfix and Chill of the year. And what a year we've had. But yeah, anyway, good evening, Luke. Nice to see you, my friend Zinny. Nice to see you, Jim, Barry, and I think Mike Clare from Bearded Veteran Creates is on his way. He's just put he stuck a sticker on the camera, I think, and that's why you can see it there. You know what I mean? So there he is now. Look at that beard and all.
Yeah.
Does it go whiter the closer it gets to Christmas, Mike? I don't know. I'm just asking. Your beard.
No, it depends on how long I've been married.
Oh, is that what it is it? Yeah. Luke's not married. So he's got a lot of trouble there, hasn't he? So. Anyways. So yeah. Good evening. I thought tonight we'll do a bit of a review of the year. Because there has been some fabulous.
Mark, before you do that,
yeah,
Jim, what the fuck have you got on your head?
Hey!
Oh my god!
Little Santa hat, little reindeer antlers. Hey,
you
happy
crazy Americans!
I know.
We are.
Did you know that only the women have the antlers?
Yeah, it looks to me like a festive spirit has vomited upon you.
Yeah. Get the whiskey out in a minute.
Good idea.
Just quickly, those in the chat. Remember, if you want us to look at your comment, if it's a question, put question or QQQ, or if it's a comment, put comment, and we'll get you up. I see we've got a lot of the regulars in. We've got Stephen Haynes, we've got Craig Jules, Plastic Alchemist. Nice to see you, my friend. If you want to pop on, mate, put a note on Discord. I'll get you up, mate. If you can come camera to camera, that'd be good. I see Model Kit Stuff. So nice to see you, and quite a few Stephen Potts and Alex Smith. Nice to see you, Alex. We will announce the Hampden, who won the Hampden. I've done a draw, and I've got a name here, which I'll announce a bit later. But I was just looking at over the if we go to here and we'll put this up a minute. We add to the stage. Then I was looking at the amount of releases we've had this year, and it equates to 2,210 brand new tooled model kits. But the problem I'm having is that a lot of, I don't say, I'm a plastic scale modeler. If I can't put it together with Tamiya Extra Thin, I don't really want to know. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of scale modelers who agree with me on that. Okay, I'm not somebody outside pissing in on that hill. I stand on that hill that for me a model kit is plastic, not 3D resin. And I know I'm not judging you or saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that that's how I see it. But I'm just going through today, just looking at some of the manufacturers that we know of. And for instance, Zvezda this year have announced 16 brand new toolings this year. Which is incredible. Bandai's done 13, Ashima's had 11, Trumpeter's done 10. We've had Airfix have done their 9 brand new tools this year. Micromere's 9, Academy's 9, Hasegawa's done 8, Gecko Models has done 8. So there's some Takum's done 8. There's a lot of Edar's announced 6, ICM's done 6, which is 3 less than Airfix. Edar's done 6, Kovas Zodi, Prosjov has done, so a lot of the big companies have announced some pretty fabulous tooling, and we've got a lot of them on our workbenches over the years. I thought it was quite an exciting year of releases, to be honest. What's your take on it, ladies and gentlemen? Luke, what's your take on the releases this year?
I think, as we often say, now I still consider myself very new to this in comparison to other people that perhaps have been putting models together for decades. I still consider myself fairly new. But we often say we're in the golden age of the hobby, and that's brought to bear, isn't it, by the amount of new tools, the amount of new releases, the amount of aftermarket, the advent of 3D printing, although that's not your thing. We are in the golden age of the hobby, and I don't think as consumers we have anything at all to complain about.
Yeah.
I think there's something for absolutely everyone, and more. You know, we'd all like to build every new release. We'd all like to build every kit that we want to build, and it's just a physical impossibility. We're absolutely spoiled choice.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
I don't think we have anything at all to complain about.
Well, I just see a comment there. Model kit stuff. I thought it was predictable and boring in the main. Nothing very exciting. Is that your stance as a model builder, though? As a boat builder, though, Jason? I thought the Stalwart was a great announcement. I thought the Jaguar was a fabulous announcement. I'm talking Airfix here. There was a lot more what I would call extra curriculum sort of tooling. Like, for instance, just there, Micromere's has done a Blom and Voss BVP 193. I'm trying to think which was the company that announced that prototype ME 163. What was it called again? That prototype jet that I think was it Das Werk? Was it Das Werk? There was some really interesting subjects this year. If you looked outside of the box, sort of thing. As I said, I'm just taking from what was said. I thought there was some really good subjects. I've bought. I didn't just buy Airfix this year. I've bought a Hamden from ICM. I've got the Broncos Chinese rockets that they put out there. There's some really good stuff. But I still think that if you look at some of the model companies like Tamiya, Airfix, Revell, they will always produce something safe. If you see what I mean. You've got Revell with the Meteor, haven't you? Airfix, Messerschmitt. Okay. Tamiya, the Lightning, the F-35B, another German tank. Do you see what I'm saying? But then you've got to look a bit further afield. Yeah, blasphemous must not buy an Airfix. Yeah, I bought both the tractors from the tanks from Tamiya this year, the Hotchkiss and what was the other one? What was it? What was the one that did the Hotchkiss and the other one that they did? What was the other one that Tamiya did this year? The other tank. Oh, it's called now. What's that bloody tank called from Tamiya that they released this year?
Matilda, was it?
No, on the Matilda, they did the 135th. It was the other tank this year.
That little French tank, was that this year?
No, that was the Hotchkiss. That was this year. They also released another one as well.
They do the M36.
Yeah, that's right. The one that I built.
There's a handful of people screaming at their computer screens right now.
Yeah, I know. What was it? The M36. But what's they call it? What's the name of the M36?
Achilles.
Oh,
Achilles?
Or was that 24? I don't know.
I can't remember now. Bloody hell, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, it's the M36, but there's another name for it. There's a name for the M36 that I built from Tamiya. But yeah, so yeah, the Jackson, the M36 Jackson. Get there in the end, lads. Of course, this is a crap show started already, isn't it? So yeah, I just felt that if you look through the list of all the kits that have come out, I think there's been a very, very big range. Gecko, what did they've announced the Matilda that will come out next year, or the first part of the next year. Tell me, I've also released the The F14 Tomcat. Yes, the re-release.
No, it isn't.
The Tomcat, the F14 Tomcat is in the re-release.
No, it's brand new tool. F14D.
In 70 seconds.
Yeah.
A brand new tool, is it?
Yeah.
That's something to look forward to next year, isn't it?
There are people now that have it.
Yeah, it might already be out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not. I don't think it's in the UK yet, but it's certainly available in the States, I believe.
Is it? Oh, just lost me screen here. Hang on, what's going on? Oh, Scalemates is down. Scalemates is down. Oh well, we'll just get rid of that for a minute. Right. So, but yeah, I've built this year. I built the Stalwart, the Wessex. I've built the. What else have I built Airfix wise this year? I'm halfway through the Messerschmitt. I've got the Artemis to build over Christmas probably. The Jaguar, that was I got quite a way through to that. That was all right. Thinking about everything I've built. Yeah, I built that M36 Jackson. I built the Hotchkiss. What else did I build? That's Tamiya. What else did I build this year? Crumbs, just going through my head what I was building this year. Quite a range. What have you built this year, Jim? Are you still going through your military jets?
Oh yeah. So I only managed 3 this year. So I did a 35th scale Kitty Hawk SH-60B that I folded up and added all the rivets and took me forever.
Yeah.
I did a 35th scale Marine Corps M60 tank and then a 48 scale A7 Corsair. Then I got into around August. I got into my 350th scale Arleigh Burke. That took about 4 months, and I got to the superstructure and completely jacked it up. So now I need another whole new kit just for the superstructure in the front. But other than that, then I shelved it, and now I'm on to a 32nd scale Sufa.
Fair enough. What about you then, Zinni? What have you built this year?
Well, I mean, not much. I mean, you know that I'm infrequent, shall we say, for lots of reasons. But I mean, the one that stood out was the Miles M52 that I did, and that was you'll not like this, I know, so please forgive. But that was a 3D printed model, and whilst I tried to glue it together with extra thin, it won't play. So you have to use super glue. But one thing I did remark on back in June when I wrote about it was the advent of, if you like, 3D modeling for complete full kits. And I think you made a point earlier on about model companies going safe. They're doing what works. And I think that's fair enough. And that's a good, sound commercial decision from their point of view. And from what we might call the punter's point of view as well. I mean, I'm looking at the popularity of this new Messerschmitt from Airfix, and it's garnering lots of views out there in YouTube. And I think that shows that there's a huge amount of interest still. But one of the things I think about 3D printed kits complete is that they are likely to become a bellwether of what's popular in the future. And right now, I think that what we see is a more specialist approach to short production run kits that will have somewhat limited interest. And every now and again, the short production run guys will come up with something that just sells out in about 5 seconds, and they print more and they sell out in 5 seconds, and people will soon get the idea. And this will give the plastic boys the chance to say, oh, yeah, we might tool for that. That's a good idea. And take it forward. So, you know, when you look at, I think you said 2,200 models, you know, brought out this year, of which the very largest proportion of them were 3D printed. It's not difficult to see how that would be when it's actually really quite easy for somebody with access to the technology and a bit of knowledge about it can create a model in maybe a couple of days by programming it and then print it, and then they almost have a business, you know, out of the box in some sense. Forgive my use of the expression. So that lighted on me, that particular kit, and I thought that shows us the way things I think they're going to go in the future. So that was something that stood out for me, and good stuff for Aerocraft for doing that miles 52 in 172, 148, and 132nd as well. And they're not paying me to say that, by the way.
Yeah, I get that. Jason's made a good point there, which is what Gecko have done, tooling that Matilda 1 on the back of the full 3D printed one for the Tank Museum. Yeah, I don't know how well 3D Gizmo did out of that, or how the tank, because 3D Gizmo designed it and printed it. I don't know. It wasn't cheap though, was it? As in, it wasn't cheap for plastic. It was probably cheap for resin, 3D printed resin. But you know, I don't know if they've got them on the website still. I don't know, but there's people have saying that that Matilda's looking a bit inaccurate in size. So it was 99 quid, was it? I think bad actually for a 3D resin one. But yeah, I think that's a good shout. You know, as you said, what's being done. But then again, if you look at what Airfix have been releasing in the last 3 years, you know, it's accurate armor, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? But in plastic. So, you know, we've had this, like I said, the study. Well, if we look at what they've done this year, we've done the Messerschmitt, which came out. They did the 2 Spitfires, the TR9, which was such a welcome addition because we've all wanted a trainer Spitfire, and the only time you've been able to do it is if you've got that the vac form canopy and the aftermarket, which was a little bit crap. The Artemis, I've seen quite a few built, and apparently that's a lovely kit to build. The Jaguar for me is their kit of the year. If it wasn't for that Messerschmitt 109, which what happened that year, 2021, when they released the Anson, and that was pipped by the Spitfire Mark 9 in 1/24 scale. Western Wessex is a fantastic little kit, definitely. Goes together sublimely. I've seen well a good dozen now at scale model shows built to a really, really good high spec. The Lysander, which was last year, actually, it was last year's release, wasn't it, at Scale Model World 2024, and that came out in 2025. It came just after Christmas, wasn't it? So that one, and then you got the lifeboats there, which that was last year, wasn't it? But you've got 9 there of new tools. Yeah, Lysander came out. Was it November 8th? So yeah, 9th. So ignore me on that one, the Lysander. But I think a lot of us got them after Christmas anyway. But again, Stalwart Wessex, Jaguar Artemis, Spitfire Mark 9, the T9, and the Messerschmitt. So there's some good rounded. Yeah, the Stalwart really did upset a few, but I had a few bits of sync in mind, but I built mine and painted. The build was absolutely phenomenal. Really lovely build on that Stolly. Anyone else here built it? Have you built it yet, Mike, the Stolly?
No, I haven't got one.
You haven't got one? Is there a reason why, or was it your kind of thing?
No, I love Cold War British military vehicles.
Okay.
I just haven't got round to buying one.
That's fair enough. But no, anyone else built one? Did you build one, Luke?
No, I've got 2, but I haven't built one.
Was yours full of sync? Have you had a look in the box or at all? Or
Yeah, I think. Well, the ones I've got look phenomenal kits.
Yeah.
As to be fair, what's happened over the last 12 months, really, for me, I would say now probably half or 2/3 of my stash is now Airfix.
Really?
And I haven't got a bad one. So that, you know, I understand that some people get short shots or sync arcs or all that stuff. But I've been very fortunate. I haven't I haven't encountered any issues with any kit I bought. Although I haven't built a lot of them, so obviously you can only look in the box, and which I always have made it a point of. I don't just buy a kit and put it on the shelf. I always check it. I always check the screws, make sure everything's there, etc., because there's no point 3 or 4 years down the line when you get to the kit, then trying to go back to either the model store or the manufacturer and say, "Oh, I'm missing screw F." It's too late. You need to do it immediately, really. And then you can be confident in the knowledge that everything you have in your stash is complete. It's good to go when you get to it. But I think I said in my video that came out yesterday, I make no apologies, I am turned into an Airfix fanboy because they're doing some really good kits. Not all of them are my thing, like the Wessex, the Chinook. They are my wheelhouse, absolutely.
Yeah.
But for me, they're the wrong scale. They're too small.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. They're too big.
They're too big for you, Barry, aren't they?
Yeah, my scale's 1/72.
Yeah.
They are 1/72.
So be it, mate. So be it. If you want to build 1/72, you be it. I it's only for the fact that 5-6 years ago, I realised that our life was getting a little bit worse, and the joy of building the 140. What was it? What did they do? 148. What did Airfix do? 148 that I loved.
You like the Jaguar?
Well, I've done the Jaguar. There was something they did in 148 about 5 years ago, and I then decided that's it. I think it was a Meteor. I think I did a 148 Meteor 5 years ago. I think it was a Meteor, and I just thought, why am I doing 1/72nd? You know,
it is what it is. I mean, I say it's too small; it's the wrong scale. But I will definitely get the new Tamiya F14 in 72nd scale.
Yes, exactly.
I've got the 48th ones, but I will get the 72nd one. You know, it's all dependent, isn't it? But for me, I like once you get to 48th and above, you can really start adding some significant detail to those kits.
Yeah.
And that for me is the key. And next year, as I mentioned yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, I'm definitely going to be taking a leaf out of Jim's book where it's definitely going to lean towards quality rather than quantity.
Yeah. I think you get to that stage, don't you? You know, I try and build just to get, because I've always said that if a build takes me more than 2 weeks, I start to get bored of it. And I don't know what it is with me, but if I get past that, you know, that measures me. It's a 1/24th. So I'm allowing myself 3 weeks. I've got all the the scheme done. I've just got to do the belly on it because I had trouble putting the belly on. I've had a little chat with Nigel. Nigel had it very tight, that belly. You got to fettle it in a little bit. But I got to this stage of it, but because it's just unfortunate that Christmas is my busiest time of the year. I'm out most nights gigging and, you know, punching women for getting on, trying to get to change their song, and the women punch me because I'm not playing Last Christmas by Wham, you know, all that. It's just it's tough, you know. It's, you know, and you know, and I was, you know, I had trauma with a camera last week, and I'm still getting flashbacks from it. But yeah, it's been busy, so it's stuck on my bench. But when I do get a chance, I'm straight on it, if you know what I mean. So. Alex Smith, I've just moved to 148 on the last 2 years, even though my builds take longer. I am so much happier with them. Yeah, I'm quite open with that. What have you built this year then, Mike? Have you built anything of you know, release wise? Anything new tooling?
New tooling? Probably not. I think probably the newest one was the Airfix Sea Fury.
Okay. Well, is that the Australian scheme or the original FB?
I did it in the Royal Naval Fleet Air Arm one. That's it.
That's the FB11, FB11, yeah?
FB10 or FB11.
FB11. That's the first release, that one, wasn't it?
The training school one.
Oh,
Um, Yeah, because we all did it together. So me and one of the other lads did the training school one, and then John Marley did the Australian one because he's Australian Air Force, ex-Australian Air Force.
Yeah.
One of the ghosts from the Christmas Carol does Bill modeling. John Marley.
Yeah. No, fair play.
We've done quite a few models this year.
Yeah. So, going back, ICM, they released their Hampden was announced last year, but it came out this month. I've got one here which we are going to give one away today because those who did what I said last week, I've picked a winner randomly. So yeah, but ICM have had a bit of a quieter year this year. They've done a master map and they've done a DSHKM, which I presume is some sort of
Dushka
machine gun. I'm assuming they've done a landing mat, trailer of armed forces of the Ukraine, which apparently is a nice kit. That was in July, and then they announced the Henshaw HS123A-1 in 1/32 scale. Am I right to say that is an equivalent to a Bristol Bulldog when it comes to the design and what you'll see for the engine? I don't know much about the HS123.
It's not. It was a forerunner. It was basically the forerunner of the JU-87.
Is it the forerunner of the JU-87? Fair enough. I don't know much about them, so I'm just saying it's. But if you are you interested in those kits, that's what ICM did. Revell, they've had a bit of a tidy year. I couldn't find them originally when I was looking. New tools from them, new releases, new tool wise. They did the space launch, which is apparently due out next week after. I have seen some reviews of it online. The Gloucester Meteor came out last week or week before. It looks stunning. I'm in an hour to buy one. I'm in an hour because there's still a few to sell. Apparently, there's still some out there, and they are on the rich side, aren't they? What are they, 90 quid, something like that?
Yeah,
I think it's about that.
About 90 quid. They've also announced their Lamborghini, which I've not seen either. And they released in January. They released that Lockheed Martin F-35A Lightning II. So that's quite interesting because you had Tamiya release theirs. Airfix have one in the starter set, which was last year. Did Italeri do a different version this year? I can't remember. Have a look in a minute.
They've done all of them.
Yeah.
So that's 2024. Why am I looking at 2024 for? That should say 2025. That's what I don't understand. That's all the stuff that's come out 2025. The Meteor.
Well, at the very top it says new releases 2024/2025.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering why they've got them down at 2020. It goes back to 2023 there, but these are all new. So new tooling 2025. So they've come out this year. So yeah, the Meteor was announced last year, wasn't it? And it's come out this year. So have they actually released anything this year then? Have they actually announced
I think they have, but I think Skirmates is fallible.
Well, they announced the Lightning 2. The Lightning 2 apparently was announced January the 1st, 2024, but came out in 2025.
Yeah, but if you look, Mars, if you look at the blue box, underneath the grey date box, it will tell you when it was a new tool.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is when it was announced was last year. We're looking at announcements, not as well. Did Rebel do any announcements this year? Was there any new tools announced? See, there's
Not
one
those
missing.
Scale Model World.
Yeah, I went last to the tractor isn't there. The tractor is not showing on scale, mate. So I don't know where that is. Maybe it's because it's a snap. No, it's just because it's a snap. They put it down as a snap fit kit. Maybe there you go. They call it a snap fit kit, didn't they? So that's why. That's why the tractor's not showing. But the tractor was there last year at Scale Model World, not this, not 2025 Scale Model World, but 2024. So I'm a bit unsure what they've actually announced this year that they're releasing this year. If you see
There's
what
the
I mean.
tractor. That's the tractor.
But the tractor was announced January the 5th, 2024. So it's taken over 18 months for that to come to fruition. I don't think I've seen the Lamborghini anywhere, but that was also announced in the January.
I think this year they've been trying to focus on rebranding and stuff like that.
Yeah, that might be the reason. That might be the reason. Yeah. Gecko, let's have a look at Gecko. What did they announce this year to come out? There you go. They've announced some British 4-gallon petrol tins. Which is got to ask you guys, what is the interest now of producing all this stuff in plastic? When I'm pretty damn sure that most of us, if we were going to use petrol tins and jerry cans and stuff, we would go down the 3D printed route, surely. But a lot of companies now are doing all these accessories like detailed conversion sets.
I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you said for you, scale modeling is if it doesn't go together with extra thin,
yeah,
you don't want to know it. And I think there's still a lot of people of that ilk.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that companies would release injection mold accessories because people are steering away from. For me, it's a fool's game, really. Why are you? To me, jerry cans. Why are you buying those?
Yeah.
Buy an STL file,
and
if you've got a 3D printer or know someone that has, you can print as many jerry cans as you want forever.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're better. They are better. They're better detailed. But for some people, it has to be plastic.
I think, especially for a lot of beginner modelers, they don't have access to 3D printers and things like that. So it makes sense in that respect.
Yeah. Tamiya, they've done a few bits this year. They started off with that French light tank H39, which is the Hotchkiss. That was announced at Nuremberg. So I'm assuming that at Nuremberg we're going to get more from Tamiya at Nuremberg. They seem to announce at least one kit at that toy fair. And then in April they announced the M36 US Tank Destroyer, which I built, and I loved it. It's a bloody good kit, lovely to go together. Link and link tracks were an absolute joy to use. Cleaned up really nice. So that was a nice one. I haven't seen the Honda Prelude, the BF1, for sale anywhere. That's in 1/24 scale. And then you had in August, you had their 5cm anti-tank gun, the Pack 38. They announced that, and that's already been released as well. And also, you've got this Grumman F14D Tomcat new tooling in 1/72 scale. So they haven't touched on the 148 this year, have they? They've only done 1/72, and they've done a couple of 135th tanks. And the anti-tank gun as well. So another slower year for Tamiya. But I think last year they were even a little bit more, because actually there's one kit missing here. I'm sure they released a 148 tank as well at some point.
No, was Hobby. I think that's Hobby Bosch you're thinking.
No, I'm sure that they announced a 148 tank. Tamiya, let me just type in one. I think it was 148. 148.
One Moss.
They did something. Scalemates is not playing ball today. I'm sure that they announced a 148 tank
Yeah,
to add to their collection.
as well.
Oh, the leopards, 148 leopards. So where's that to then? Tamiya leopard.
I could have sworn they released a Panther 1.
No, that was a while back. That was.
Was it?
Yeah, 148. Yeah, new tool. There you go. That was what they announced as well. They had a Leopard 2 A7V, new tooling, German main battle tank. So they did that as well this year. So, yeah. Well, I'd like to see more from Tamiya this year. If they, in 2025, I think they've been very quiet, haven't they?
They have had quite an eventful year, though, haven't they, with the death of their CEO?
Yeah.
He died earlier in the year, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know whether polystyrene plastic models are actually their core business in Japan, or whether they are more into radio controlled machinery. Yeah. And if that being the case, it would, it would be not surprising to see less from them in this regard. But who knows? It would be nice to think that next year they would bring out a couple of new things, 3 or 4 new things, maybe of the quality that we know they're capable of, that would be nice. What we do know, however, is that Airfix are after their crown.
Yeah,
question about that, in my view. The quality of I'm putting together that Lysander.
You enjoying it?
It's so simple. You can't make a video about it because you're just saying, well, this goes here and that goes there and this goes here, and it's just it's like doing. Well, it's not even like doing Meccano, because you can bend bits of Meccano and bugger it up. With this, you just put things together and glue them, and away you go.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a bit more of a modelling blog, really, rather than anything else. So, but it's great, and it's a watchword for the sort of standard of things they're bringing out these days. It's bloody good. Props to them for that.
Yeah,
I would say. I bought the I think fairly venerable 148 scale P38 Lightning from Tamiya this year, and I think that's a kit that lots of people have made, and that's another one that will just fall together, but that's kind of what you expect for these people, isn't it? I mean, any new kit that comes out from Tamiya, no one's they're going to expect the best, and God help them if they don't produce it. So there you go.
Yeah. The one that I was interested was when it comes to new tooling was Ryfield models. They seem to be really increasing their American collection, because the one that I want to build is that M1128 MGS Striker. That's supposed to be an incredible bit of kit. And have you built Ryfield, haven't you, Luke?
Yes.
You like them, don't you?
I love them.
They're more finesse than Mini Art, though, aren't they? But about the same sort of part count, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very Mini Art-esque in the way they do things, with less photo etch, I would say.
I've got.
Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, don't. Well, I was just going to say I was going to agree with you there. I've got a couple of Ryfield kits. To be honest with you, I must confess this guilty, neither of which I've actually finished. I've got a Hummer and the Challenger 2, the Megatron, as they call it. And they are bloody good. They're really good kits.
Really good. I mean, I think I would argue that certainly for the Challenger range of tanks, of which the Megatron is one, they can't be beaten.
No,
they can't be beaten on both the kit itself and how it goes together, the level of detail that they include. everything. It's the whole package. But having said that, they're not a beginner's kit.
No.
No question about that. But no, they with their specialism for armor. If you're a dyed-in-the-wool armor modeler, then this stuff is going to be very high on your list. You'll pay 50 or 60 quid a model for a 135 kit.
Easily.
But I think they do ones with internal detail as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And, that's a big
They'll
project.
do things like, so if you look at their MRAP, their 4x4 MRAP Jeep type thing, although anyone that thinks that's the size of a Jeep should stand next to one. But they will do things like they'll do their own aftermarket. So they'll do like resin wheel sets with the tire sag. They'll do the interior radio system. They'll do all that. So you have a choice as the modeler as to whether you want to include that stuff. Yes, you're going to pay a fairly premium price for it. But if that's your thing, and you're going to spend the money.
The MRAP is the one that I've got in 1/48 scale, and it's bloody marvelous. And I must fetch it out from that little cupboard down the back.
You will love it. It's a phenomenal kit.
No, I've gone a reasonable distance through it, and I've kind of stopped with it. I must go back to it. It's on the list next year. Next year,
on the list next year. Tell me, are there any kits available at present time of the 826 Invader? Saw the aircraft which appeared at Duxford Battle of Britain Air Show, and I've been wondering if a model.
Harry's just answered that one.
Has he? ICM, ICM's a good one, but that is 148, and I think Hobby Boss do a 132nd scale, don't they? I think if you want to do a 132nd Hobby Boss, I think they released one a few years back. So have a look at that one if you want. Hobby Boss.
I think the ICM kits have issues over the engines and cowlings because I think they've introduced the wrong engines.
Okay.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I think they've got Mitchell engines on them.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know about that one, to be honest. I only know that ICM.
I think Nigel will be able to tell you because I think he's got the ICM kit. He was telling me a couple of weeks ago that there's issues over them.
Yeah.
Engines fitted in them or something.
I think Italy did an Invader as well, didn't they? But it was a B26, not an A26 counter Invader.
If you want the 72nd scale one, the Airfix one's quite nice.
But that's a 1970s tooling, mate.
Yeah, but it's a nice kit, Moss. It's
I wouldn't be put if Airfix, because I think last time it was released was back in 1990. That Invader from Airfix, that would be perfect for them to retool that one.
Yeah, but it is an A26. It's not a B26.
Yeah, there's quite a few. If you look on ScaleMates and have a look for Invader, you'll see them up there.
Yeah, it's quite available.
Yeah. Steelback. I built the Riffield Sherman Firefly this year. Really enjoyed the including formers for the PE and the trap jig are a nice touch, and found it a lot less faff than the IBG Pioneer or IBG. Oh, IBG. That's IBG is the kit that you open up the box, look inside, and then just close the box again. Put it on the shelf, innit? IBG. I don't think I've ever finished an IBG kit. A really good friend of mine, Andy, at the Model Club, he had that the 172nd recovery truck, and he said the modeling he's done over the years, that is the only kit he put in the bin. And he can build. Honestly, Andy can build. But that was just one kit. Hobby Boss 132nd Invader needs a few upgrades to make it more accurate, a bit like the B24. Fair enough, understand. And Harry's saying I need to get my RFM Tiger 1 back on the go along with the Panzer. Yes, interesting. Once the Marauder went out of service in 1945, they renamed the Invader to the B-26, and then later went back to the A-26 again once the strike road got priority. Right, okay. There's some history there for you, gents. What's I going to look at for? Yeah, tanks this year. Tiger 1 seems to be released quite a few times from different manufacturers again. But again, it's the staple. Spitfires, Tiger 1s, it's staple. So, does it make it boring when they release another variant or another?
Oh, God, not another Spitfire.
Yeah. I know we're going down this route again, but there's been quite a few Spitfires released that not just Airfix this year. Didn't Armour Hobby release a Spit? No, they did the Hurricane, didn't they? They did the Hurricane.
I mean, the thing is with this is that Qatari have, I think, got 4 or 5 in there, maybe 4, I think, in their range at the moment. But
yeah,
words, "Oh God, not another Spitfire," are never actually said by people who haven't actually built a Spitfire yet, or haven't actually built a Qatari Spitfire, or whatever, or a 124th Spitfire, for example. Yeah. And you'll always find people that will do that because it's such a perennial favourite. And talk about going safe. Well, you can't go safer than that, can you? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Tiger 1 is the Spitfire of the armour world, really. It is what it is. What's boring to one modeler has a degree of excitement, intrigue, whatever you want to call it, for another modeler, depending on the subject.
Yeah.
As Jason said in the chat earlier, on the wooden ship front, there's been very few new releases this year or things to intrigue or excite the wooden ship modeler. Well, to me, a wooden ship is boring.
Yeah.
It would bore me. So, but to Jason, that would be very exciting, So I think it is very genre dependent. But Spitfires, Tiger 1, Shermans, Hurricanes, they're all the staples, aren't they?
There's probably a list of 50 or 60 kits that are going to sell it. You could make it out of sand shoes and sweeties and it would still sell. And that's great. It's what the modeling hobby's made up of, and then you pick up the rest of your hobby out of other things, and so it will always be. There are people in the world who will do nothing but build Lancasters because they love looking at that object. And it is a delightful object to look at, and it's still yet others who will do a Tiger tank because of perhaps the engineering capability and the engineering skill that it represented, which was the best of what the German technicians and engineers could produce. There's history around that, and that sort of thing appeals to people in that way. I think in the same way that I build experimental aircraft.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of history around that.
Yeah.
And that's always interested me. So there you are.
Yeah. Well, there have been 21 re-releases of Tigers this year. Dragon's done theirs. The artillery support vehicles, basically a new box, but I've seen one of them built and it's very nice. You got Ryefield models again. They've been adding new parts to their Tiger 1s, early productions, etc. Takom, initial production 4-in-1 kits. Again, Takom. A lot from the Chinese. And if you go down further, you've got a Trumpeter. Have added new parts, the Henschel turret, 105mm gun, King Tiger. Rifle models again, King Tigers. I don't know about Flyhawk model. I'm not too sure about them. I presume that's 3D print. And Meng have brought out a new tool, 182 King Tiger with the Porsche turret. And then they're going to release another one with the Henschel turret. So you've got 2 turrets there to play with in 1/72nd scale. And I think those Meng ones, if I remember rightly, you can build them without glue. I think they go together. They're like a simplified kit, if I remember rightly from Meng. But yeah, Tiger ones. So yeah, it's
But and
they'll sell. The thing is, though, they will sell. You know, and that's sometimes you got to look at this at the time. You know, what is it's bread and butter to a lot of these model manufacturers.
right. So here's another thing to think about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'll use. We could use the Tiger as an example. A lot of it depends on who's doing it, what scale they're doing it in, and then what variants or upgrades or that they're doing it in. Okay, so you're a Tiger aficionado, and you've got all the Dragon kits, and then another manufacturer comes along, let's say Ryfield, and then now Ryfield says, "Hey, we're going to do the whole family." Holy crap! You've got everything. You've got the latest and greatest from this manufacturer, but now here comes another manufacturer who has upped their game. They're producing better fitting kits, more detailed kits, and now it's just made your multiple hundreds of dollars or pounds stash of Tigers obsolete. And now you're like, if you're like me, sell pennies on the dollar because you got to have the latest and greatest thing. I've got 5 or 6 AFV Club strikers, and here comes Ryfield in with their striker. Now you think, oh my gosh, are they going to do the whole family? Are they going to do all the variants? Do I need to get rid of all my stuff and get all the new stuff because it's the latest and greatest, you know?
Yeah.
If I had some sanity, which I don't, obviously, I would just be happy with what I have. But
yeah,
you know, so when model companies do Tigers, it could be it's a Tiger, but it could be the Tiger to have. You know?
Yeah. I don't think anyone would. I think, and also you've got to. It's love who you do, isn't it? I think there'll be some people who would rather do a Tiger from Ryfield models than a Tiger from Meng. You know, and some of us are biased to who we buy from. You know, clearly I'm biased. But then again, I know that Airfix don't do an M36 Jackson. So what did I do? I bought the Tamiya one and I built that. But just looking, you know, again, Spitfires this year, Beacon Models have re-released their 144 scale ones. Revell have done their 144 ones as well. Sword added new decals. Revell did a Battle of Britain set. KP added new parts of their PR Mark 4, 2 versions of that. So, you know, all this year there's been 29 releases of Spitfires. Qatari, they've done 2 with their 132nd. They did the PR Type A and the Mark 5B early, all with new parts.
Look at that beautiful Spitfire with a star on it. Yeah, baby.
Well, that's the Qatari Mark 5B. That is that on your wish list?
Tosses hand runs.
Yeah. The Edard again, but you know that's a new tooling. But we all know that Edard, you know, one of their Spitfires, I think is their 148. They released that since they produced it in 2009, 26 times. 26 times in 15 years, 16 years.
But they had every intention of doing that back then. They knew what they were going to do.
Yeah, they were going to get their money's worth out of the tooling, and I don't begrudge a company from doing that because, you know, it is you know, don't get me wrong, it's not a cheap way in that response of releasing the kit because they still got to design something with new parts. It's not just putting in another set of decals. You've got to research those decals as well to make sure they're accurate. So there's somebody spending, I don't know, 40 hours on looking at the research of the decals, making sure they're right, designing those decals. I think people forget what goes into creating or choosing the schemes you're going to put with these kits as well. Is that not a fair comment?
Yeah, very much so. The commercial side of this is extremely important, and it's much more costly than people think. Much more costly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Go on.
I think we often, as the consumer, underestimate the knowledge base that these manufacturers have.
Yeah.
They don't just do things on a whim.
No.
And because 10 people at a model show have said, "Oh, I want this," they don't then go out and tool it or release it in a different scheme or whatever. There's a mountain of research and everything that goes behind whatever release it is, whether it's a new kit, new parts, new decals, whatever it may be. And it's down to us as a consumer and the choice, whether that's our thing or not, whether we purchase it or not. But these manufacturers aren't just shooting in the dark. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, what's the first thing people say when Airfix release a new tooling? Oh, they're not doing the scheme with Spader in it, things like that. Oh, they haven't done a search and rescue version. No, because they're going to do that about 2 or 3 releases down the track, because they know that you're going to buy the brand new tooling, and then you're probably going to buy the search. Like the Wessex straight away. They all said, "Oh, they haven't done the yellow one." You know what I mean?
They said exactly the same with the Seeking.
Yeah. They missed the trick.
But that is commercial sense, isn't it? Because I now have 4 148 Seekings in my stash. Right.
And you paid for all 4 as well, haven't you, Luke?
I have. I've paid for everything.
That's right, isn't it?
But,
yeah.
I also have 5 148 links in my stash.
Yeah.
But these manufacturers aren't stupid. I will build all of them, and I will build them in the schemes that I want to build them in. But there are a lot of people out there that if they'd released the yellow Seeking or yellow Wessex first, they'd have bought one. And they'd have built that, and that would be it.
Yeah.
Because that's the iconic. That's the one most people will recognize, and that will be the iconic version. So why on earth would they spend all that money, tooling, etc., to release something that people are only going to buy once? What they want to do is release it in all the different variants and everything else first, and then when they're like, okay, we've done this to death now, we're running out of schemes and everything else, let's do the yellow one. And then everyone will go nuts and buy the yellow one.
Yeah.
That's just, and I'll be one of those, definitely. So, in fact, I'll probably buy 2.
Who would like to see Airfix? Sorry, go on, carry on, Luke.
No, it's all right. I was just swearing.
Sorry, I thought you were finishing. Who would like to see Airfix making large-scale engine kits like the one they had when they launched the BF 109? I have asked for that for the STL. I'll get it right this time. The STL files.
Not the
not the STIs or the STD. STL.
The STDs.
That was a fraudulent slip that day, wasn't it? When I said that.
I need some of those STDs. No, you don't.
They come with 2 milligrams of penicillin. I agree. You look at that Mark 24 Spitfire and the Mark 9 Spitfire when they first released it. I said to him, why don't you put that in a bag and just sell it? That engine, it looked phenomenal for a Merlin. And then you've got with the BF 109, the engine on it is fabulous. But if you saw the 3D printed blown up one, I asked Dale if I could have the STL files on that, and I think it was Foxtrot Oscar. I think it was in the message somewhere.
But I think there's definitely a market
Yeah.
I think
if they went to like 112, 16 and released engines, how popular, I believe, I'll be corrected, I'm sure, how popular were the Italian cockpit sets when they did those? And they were in like 12 scale, and they did like the F-16, the F-104.
Yeah, but Luke, there were companies that have released World War One engines, and I don't think they sold very well.
It's typical, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but
remember
when
which
did they release them, and how good are they?
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
that's it.
they were released in the 70s originally, but they were
Yeah,
Clerget,
that's fine. Yeah.
you know, but they weren't very popularly sold, but they were the state of the art at the time.
Yeah,
The
I think you're right, Muzz. If you saw that 3D printed engine that they had at Telford, if they released that as a kit, I think that would do very well. The Spitfire engine would do very well, because what a lovely display if you can have your 24 scale aircraft next to a 12 or a 6 scale engine.
Yeah.
What a lovely thing to have on your shelf. That would be.
This is something that I've looked at. I've got the 1/24 scale Mustang, which has a Packard V1650/7 engine in it, and this is the early 50-year-old kit with a. It's not bad out of the box, but you can do a lot to it, and I have done quite a lot to it. An unknown benefactor will provide me with a 1/24 scale Mark 9 Spitfire, and I'll do the same thing with the engine. And I think what you're saying is absolutely right, because it's piqued my interest in it. And I wrote an article about the Packard Merlin engine in my Substack. He said, shamelessly plugging his Substack. Sorry about that, Moss.
Here's an STD for you.
And yeah, right, I've got it. I know it's all right. I was wearing my contraceptive, so I'm okay.
Do you have your social glasses on?
1/16 to 1/12 scale, possibly with a propeller as well.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities for you to be able to, first of all, get the kit right out of the box, but also then to add additional details is very significant. The old Packard Merlin engine out of the Spitfire kit, I've added a fair number of pipes and bits and bobs and so on, and I will add yet more to them as well. And then I'm going to compare them to the modern kit and to see where it's gone, because I'm going to say that the trajectory of development in terms of detail is going to be upwards, not downwards or level. You're going to get better, and the higher that you go in scale, so the nearer full size you get, again, the trajectory of detail will go upwards, because there are less places to hide. And here's where I think some manufacturers miss a trick. And I noticed one of our correspondents on the comments talked about the Hellcat engine, and a 1/12 scale Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp would be a work of art at 1/12 scale with a Hamilton standard propeller attached to it. That was lovely. You make a little stand for it, you know. That would be more difficult with a radial engine, but you've got a lovely ornament there for people that are interested in engines. That's not going to be everybody, but it will be some people.
I think it would be a significant enough number to make it viable. Definitely.
Yeah.
There's nothing to stop manufacturers if they go into that degree to produce an engine kit. You know, the talent and the technology exists within those design houses for them to put a stand in the kit.
Yeah.
You know, so it will be a proper display piece. And I think that's definitely a good idea.
If I put my Airfix hat on, and I think I have a jolly good sense of why Airfix wouldn't just tool up engines, it's because how would they sell it again? You know, it's like, I think the reason why those submarines that they did back in the day, you know, the Trafalgar, was that they put every single decal in that box, and they never sold well. When once that first release went, and then they released it again with as a gift set with all the paints again, and I think it's the same for that Type 45 destroyer. that they did. They put all the decals in that you needed to do, whichever one you wanted to do. But then there was nothing next. What do you do with that? You know, you can't, spray it pink and go, this is it. You know what I mean? And I think when you look at how Airfix have, and this goes for everyone, Tamiya, well, not Tamiya so much, but Revell, ICM, and all the others, even including the rifle models, there's got to be another reason why how you can use that tool in again. What else can you add to it? And I think with an engine, once you built the engine, how else would you sell it again? You can't change the scheme of it or nothing, can you?
And I think that's a consideration. And I think when you're talking to idiots like us that are enthusiasts, if you like, and prepared to spend the money on that sort of thing, we have to bear in mind that we're a very small percentage of a very small percentage.
Yeah.
Is there going to be enough scope to make it financially worth a manufacturer doing that? Because I know I have every Airfix new tool 24 scale kit. And I'm going to build every single one of them. Start with the Hellcat next year.
The Hellcat first, is it?
Hellcat first.
Yeah. That's an engine in itself, mate. That's a glorious engine.
It's a work of art. It's an absolute.
If they released, say, a 12th or 6th scale engine for each of those kits, with the propeller or without, it doesn't matter to me. I would buy, for the same price, every single engine kit to go with each model.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that I'm probably a very small percentage.
It is an interesting one.
If they did worth doing that,
If they did the 124th Merlin engine on its own, or 112, they could do the Bentley Meteor car to go with it, because that had a Merlin engine in it.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So
then you
there's
could have
the
Spitfires, and you could have the car to go with it.
So that with Merlin, there's an awful lot of scope to do an early, mid, or late Merlin, including the Packard variants, because they're all slightly different. So the early ones had a single-stage supercharger, then they went to the two-stage, two-speed supercharger. The Packard Merlins had different water pumps, and they had different magnetos and things of this kind. So there's a lot of scope for this, an awful lot. And I think there's an abiding interest in Merlin engines. And in fact, the full-sized units are still sought out to this day for power boats and such things, because the basic unit that Rolls-Royce in Derby put together was operationally tough enough to withstand the war and was more or less at its zenith, if you like. Then after that came jet engines. So it was really it got as good as it could get. The Pratt and Whitney engines were the same sort of thing. Then Pratt and Whitney turned their attention to jet engines, just like Rolls-Royce did. So I think there's a lot of scope for it, and that kind of thing. I'm relatively recently interested in it, but certainly interested.
Whether there would be the scope for a manufacturer, different variants that have said Merlin engines or whatever. If you're not a true enthusiast, so I wouldn't consider myself a true aircraft enthusiast. I'm not. So I wouldn't know the difference necessarily of a different water pump or a different pipe system on a Merlin engine. I wouldn't have a clue. But if they could release a 12 scale or 6 scale, it's got to be big. It's got to be big enough to make it worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
With their 24 scale releases, then I think that's the market right there, rather than the engine enthusiast. I think that's very, very niche. I think there's scope for it if a 3D company decided to go down that route. I think they would sell. I think they'd make money.
Especially if they make
a lot of people. But for a mainstream manufacturer, to go down the route of engine variants, perhaps not.
Probably not. No.
Go on,
But
Mike, what
if
you
they
saying?
could release an engine of what's in the kit, but in a larger scale to go next to it, I think that would be a winner. I'd buy them.
Go on, Mike, what are you saying?
I was going to say, especially if they built it on a test rig, because you see a lot of them going around to World War II shows and stuff on test rigs, and you have like the shows where Guy Martin did his Merlin on the test rig and stuff like that as well.
I mean, would you, Luke? Would you, for instance, buy a Comet or a Cromwell tank and put the Merlin engine beside that because that had a Merlin in it as well?
I have put engines inside.
No, I mean beside it in a service trestle.
In what, sorry, mate?
You know, like if you put the engine into a service trestle and then put that in a larger scale beside the tank, I think that would.
I probably wouldn't, because for me, when I build armor, which historically I've built a lot of,
yeah.
For me, armor is more about the theater and the purposefulness of whatever it is. Whereas now, where I've moved, I'm building a lot more aircraft than I've ever built. For me, the aircraft is about the technical, the technology of the machine, rather than the environment that it was operating in. Because let's be honest, most aircraft operate at 20,000 feet, like it's sky. It's all about whether it's World War One, World War Two, modern, Cold War, whatever.
Yeah,
they all operate at altitude, and there's not much to model other than a cloud. But it's about the technological capability of that.
I just thinking about all that with like you're saying, then just going back to the engines. I still feel that 1/24th is a little bit too small for developing engines.
Definitely.
For display.
Yeah.
And the problem you got is that someone made a comment here, which is you're absolutely spot on. Make the engine cutaway and include all the pistons and workings, attach a slow motor so you can see it all working. Now, Airfix have done this in the past. You can build a V12 engine or V8. Was it V12? V8 or V12 engine, and you can do a jet engine. The problem is when it becomes working, it becomes toy-like.
Yeah.
It's very, very, what can I say? It's like an action GT sort of puzzle.
Yeah.
When you put them together, they don't look real. It's good to, engineering wise and seeing how it works takes all the mystery away from that. But we as scale modelers look at the presentation. And if you've got, and the way, and it's all chunky plastic, and I suppose there is a way that you could manufacture it in a way that it isn't. But they're not designed as a showpiece, as in, you can do a lot with them. They're designed to show you the internal mechanisms and take away that mystery of what engines can do. Now, up on my shelf there, I've got a 4-stroke Airfix engine that they produced, and also the 1804 steam loco engine that they produced, which I think should go back into the vintage classic range.
Yeah. Done the 4-stroke engine, motorized it. That's a video on YouTube.
Yeah, but again, if you wanted to make
that mainstream.
Yeah, if you wanted to make it so it works, as in it's movable, you can't weather it up and bash it up like you can if you just glued it into position.
No, it's done in sort of pristine.
Pristine. So
you've
got that
pristine.
Yeah, but you've got that balancing act, really, haven't you?
Well, it's very difficult to dirty down a cutaway engine.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, engine.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, we've all done it. There's work, movable parts on a scale model, and you do your damnedest to spray it up to make sure that it can still move after you've sprayed it.
Yeah.
But the paints that we use are very thin, they'll get into every nook and cranny if you're not careful, and then it won't move because it's solid now because there's paint got in the gap or something.
Yeah, I had to take a file to the cogs and the 4-stroke motor because I painted them, and the paint was too thick, so I had to get a file and file the teeth.
Yeah,
but
the motor
is that mainstream enough?
Hmm.
I don't think it is. You go to any model show anywhere, the amount of motorized models is a tiny percentage of what's on display. What we do, the mainstream, if you like, is very much static display rather than motorizing stuff. And it can be done, of course it can be done. You know, you look at companies like Model Factory Hero, you know, some of their engines, they are engines. They will run on fuel.
Yeah.
But then you're going into a very niche and you're going to pay 1,000, 1,200 quid to have that opportunity to do that. That's not mainstream.
But you're right, you know, motorizing kits that does make them somewhat toy-like. A few years ago, I did a couple of frog spinner prop kits. Ordinary everyday kits had motors where you can spin the propellers and battery operated. It does make it somewhat toy-like. So it's not something I'd do again, even though I still got a couple of them in the stash.
I mean, it's each their own, isn't it? I'm not a fan of lights in kits either.
Yeah, because AMT Ertl did a whack of those with the Star Trek Star Wars kits with the fiber optics.
Yeah,
because I think they look, in the main, there are people that can do it, but in the main, you start lighting a kit, it looks like a toy.
Yeah. If anyone's asking, someone's asking, do tank guys go all gooey about tank engines in the same way that plane guys do? And they do. Rifle models, I've got one of these upstairs actually, which I was going to build as a static engine. They do this one, which is an upgrade set, the Ford GAA V8 engine in 135th. It's only on one sprue. There's only one sprue in the box. Tiger Hobby. I bought mine for Tiger Hobbies. I think I paid 16 quid for mine. They're 12.74 and they're out of stock. So, but yeah, you can buy tank engines like this as upgrade sets that you could easily build up and like put it beside, you know, a tank. You can say, "Oh, this tank's having a new engine fitted," and you can build that tank and have the engine on the side on a pallet. So yeah, they are available if you want to go down that route. But I think tank guys do also look at engines and go, you know, for instance, you know, when I didn't realize that the Scorpion had a E-type Jag engine in it because it was the smallest engine they could with the most power or something. And if you go to Bovington, you'll see people there next to that Scorpion, and they're not looking at the Scorpion. They're taking pictures of the engine that they've got on display beside it, you know. So yeah, but again, some of us just want to build the plane. They don't really care about what, you know. This was the question that was always asked about Qatari releasing their Spitfire without an engine. Does it take away from a Spitfire that you don't have an engine to build inside it? Whereas you can buy a Trumpeter one which has an engine in it. The Messerschmitt has the 1/32 scale Messerschmitt BF 109 K4 comes with an engine, you know. So yeah, and I think, but then saying that on the other side, you don't see many tanks released with an engine, do you?
No.
You know, so yeah, I think it's horses for courses again. You know, when they say full interior, doesn't always mean it comes with an engine either, does it? It's mostly the interior inside. So
compartment generally.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Right, just quickly, while we're carrying on with this, don't lose the conversation, but I just want to quickly mention that on the 29th of December at 8 p.m, so that's next Monday, there will be no Airfix and Chill, but I will be doing the big fat scale modeling quiz of the year. You will have to download an app on your phone. And so if you go to the App Store and look up Speed Quizzing, you want the one with the blue logo, not the Speed Quizzing Live app. It's just called the Speed Quizzing, and it's that blue square. Look for that icon, download it, and then just leave it. And then on the night when I go live, I will send you a PIN code that you then put into that Speed Quizzing app, and then when I go through the questions, I know there's an 8-second delay between what you're seeing, what we're seeing now, and when it gets put on YouTube. But there's 10 seconds to answer the question. But as soon as I press the button to put the question live, it will come up on your phone. And then it's multi-choice, A, B, C, or D, or 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the answers on them. And then you pick the answer. And then at the end of it, we'll total up all the totals, and there will be prizes. I have received, well, I was a bit cheeky. I went on Hobbycraft and bought a job lot of space shuttles and Artemises and all sorts quite cheap. So there will be prizes for most questions answered, etc. First, second, and third place. But yeah, so that'll be next week at 8 p.m. So something a little bit lighthearted. I'm using it at the moment in pubs, and I'm going to try and do it online. So yeah, so if you want to come and join me next week, if anybody of the Airfix and crew want to jump on and join and help me do this, that's fine. But there'll be no
play, Mark.
You can play as well if you want. At the end of the day, you know, as soon as I press that button, even though we're 8 seconds behind on YouTube, it goes out to everybody at the same time. So the questions will come up. There is one little caveat that when they have pictures, because there will be a paint round, so get yourself set up with knowing the paint colors. A picture will come up of a paint bottle, and then 4 answers saying what code, you know, what number is this paint, Humbrol number. Touch the picture, then the question will come up, and then you answer it, and then I think it's 6 points if you get the answer right. But if you're the quickest, there's an extra 2 points to that as well. So it kind of splits it up. But there's all different rounds. There's reboxing round. There's a new release round for 2025, general knowledge, a paint round, and other stuff. So I think I've got 60 questions so far. I might put it to 70, but I was thinking of about an hour, a minute per question. And then we'll do it from there. But I've still got to contact the firm because I can't work out how to do it. Questions per round on totals, and then an overall over the 60 questions or 70 questions. So no, but it'll be all based on scale modeling. Okay, but I thought I'd do something a bit different, and I'll do it live, and you can, because there'll be no cheating, there'll be no typing it into the comments or anything like that. It will be done through the app on your phone. So as soon as I'm here on screen, I'll press the button. You get the question come up on your screen, and you pick the answer, and you'll be fine. So that's a bit of fun next week. All right. And I said there will be prizes. No team name, just put your name. There's no teams or nothing. Just put your name in there. I think, you know, I haven't set it up for. There's 2 ways of doing it. There's a speed quiz live and a speed quiz pub, and pubs are more for the teams. But we'll get it sorted next week. But I am trialing it out this week. And hopefully it'll be all ready for next week. I've had to pay for Zoom and everything to do this, like, you know. So, but yeah, there it is. There's the big fat scale modeling quiz of the year 2025 will be here next week at 8 o'clock. So yeah,
good for you. Well done.
I'm going to try it, have a little play with it, you know, and get the questions up and everything. So it'll be a bit of fun. Right. Oh, somebody's already downloaded it. Okay. At first, I was put off by the Qatari Spitfire not having an engine. Fast forward, and I'm halfway through building one. I don't miss it at all. They are just fantastic kits. I never said they weren't fantastic. I was just saying that some people were erring on the side of caution because it didn't come with an engine. But what I've heard is that you can buy aftermarket if you want to put an engine in it, but you know, it's one of them. Attacker, Myfield models, Gecko models, and Mini all make their kits with the option of engines. I understand that, but what I was trying to get at was they don't necessarily come with an engine. Okay, unless
it's generally not as big a consideration.
Yeah, not a consideration. So yeah,
But
Mr.
that comes down to everything.
Yeah,
If you say you want to build a T55, whichever variant it may be, well, your go-to really is going to be Mini because their range of T55s is substantial. And they make really good kits. Then you decide, as part of your planning of the build, do you want to have it open? Do you want to have it closed? Do you want to put an engine in it? Do you want to put an engine next to it? Do you want to do this, do that? Do you want metal tracks? Do you want link and link tracks? Do you want early variant tracks, or do you want late variant tracks? Or, and it's all, do you want a metal barrel, or are you happy with the kit barrel, or all these things? But that goes back to what we said at the beginning. We're in such a golden age of the hobby that all these things are available to you. They just might not necessarily all come in the box all of the time. Because there may be a model that wants to build a T55A and they want to build it as the T55A that they're going to include on some groundworks or diorama or vignettes. They don't need the engine deck open because it wouldn't be in that environment. However, there may be another model who wants to build a T55A who is more, they want to display it and display the technology that's involved in that particular vehicle, etc. Well, then they're going to want to put an engine in it. And Mini Art and others make that an option for you. Should you choose to go down that route, you might want to put a mine roller on it. You might not. There's so many different things. And we're very lucky, I think, as consumers that we have the option.
I agree. Yeah. It's interesting that going back to Airfix and their Messerschmitt, they give you a choice of whether you build a full engine so you can see it, or you build the engine so you can put the cowlings. You can hide it, but they don't give you the option of what's it called? Wheels up. They've only given it as wheels down. You know what I mean? There's certain compromises in it, and also, I suppose if you have a tank which has a full interior, which has an engine in it, would that put you, because of the price of it, there'd be extra parts. Would you then think, well, I don't want to build an engine. You're not going to see the interior once I've glue up the hatches. I just will buy the cheaper one. There's always these compromises that are being made, not just by the scale modeler themselves, but the manufacturers as well. How far do you want to go with this?
There you have, like with anything, any manufacturer of anything, they have a price point, don't they? That they're aiming for, a retail price point that they're aiming for, that their market research has said this is what people will be prepared to spend on whatever it may be. And their design team is aiming for that, to produce the best thing they can to that price point. And it's no different with scale model kits. The difference is that as modelers, we have the opportunity to make that into what we want it to be.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And for me, if an armor kit came with an engine, but I was going to have the engine deck closed, it wouldn't necessarily put me off buying the kit. I just wouldn't use the engine parts. But if it was a good kit of whatever it may be, I'm still going to buy it. I'm just not going to use the bits that are in it.
Yeah. You're showing us something there, Mike? Sorry, what was it you're showing?
Yeah, I've got a Accurate Armor Chieftain engine.
Okay.
It's a resin kit.
Oh, the Chieftain Power Pack. I think one of the guys at the Scale Model Club built that. It looks tidy though. It looks very nice.
Yeah, it's lovely detail in it.
And what is that? 1/35th?
Yeah.
Yeah. But is 1/35th that little bit too small?
I've only put together the first part.
some detail on that, though, isn't there? Crumbs.
Yeah, still loads on it to do as well.
Yeah.
Plus, you got the radiators and the coolers and intercoolers and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, fair play. Fair play. What am I looking at? I'm trying to get your screen now. Yeah, get your screen. That's a kit for Mr. Hughes, that one, apparently.
Yeah,
so
absolutely certain. Yeah.
Mini
I'm
art
sure we
kit.
can get one printed in time.
Yeah. I've mini heart kits with interior, but no engine included.
Yeah.
Talking of recent news events, is there a good scale model of a canal boat out there at all?
The dried up pothole canal.
That's people's lives. That's dreadful. Yeah, I saw the pictures today.
That's not far from me, though.
If you want an engine, sorry, go on, carry on, mate.
Yeah, saying it's not far from me. It's in Llangollen.
Oh, there you are.
The massive sinkhole opened up and all the water's gone out through the bank at the side.
Yeah, Joe, I wasn't disagreeing with you, Moz. Just stating, I realised maybe if there isn't be all and end all, if the kit is so good, it just surprised me. Yeah, I wasn't saying that. Yeah, I was kind of agreeing with you, but then also saying that it was, one of the questions was, would you spend £85 on a Qatari kit, 1/32 scale, or would you spend the extra 10 or more to get? I mean, this debate, we've had this debate 3 or 4 times on Airfix and Chill, and we've always come to that conclusion that if you want to build Qatari, you build Qatari, and if you want to build Airfix, you build Airfix. And that's simple. That is the crux of it. But there were those who said that the Qatari one, it made the Qatari kit look expensive because you got an engine and a 1/24th engine in that with that Spitfire. That was what we got at the end of it. We debated it to death, and that's what
I don't know. I've not built one. Zinzan's built one. Yes, you could consider it expensive because it doesn't have an engine in it, but it's worth every penny because it's such a good kit.
Yeah,
it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I would love to see a scale modeler project manage, develop, research, market, QC, and see how many years it takes to come out. Basically, being Dale at Airfix or similar, it can't be easy. No, we had this. There was a post put up on somebody's YouTube channel, and the guy was saying that Dale should be sacked because of stuff that happened in the last two releases. And basically, that bloke, he doesn't come on Airfix and Chill anymore. He doesn't comment on my channel because I think I blocked him. But that guy was a troll, I'm afraid, mate. He was just a pure troll. I don't think people understand what goes into developing and producing a scale model kit. When we come back in January, we will have our Airfix and Chill 4:00 Wednesday Airfix launch day, and I have invited Dale, Clint, and Matt to come on after the launch to talk to us. So if you have any questions about developing of kits, it'd be good to come and have a chat with them there, and they can answer all your questions. But I got the impression it's an 18-month turnaround, not including the initial research on what they're going to do. By what I gathered, after having Luke on here and seeing Airfix do their presentations, I think they decide on what kit they're going to do, and then they get their researcher to go out and produce a pack of scans, reference, visuals, what they want in the kit, and then the designer then gets given that pack, goes away, and then comes back with some sort of initial design, and then it gets into the troubleshooting. And I think, if I'm right, when Luke joined Airfix for that Spitfire 1/24 scale kit, and they designed it and everything, there was 8 A4 pages of things that were wrong or could be improved. And one of the things which Luke picked up on, and he said this in the thing, was, I think Chris, who designed it, came up with that when they did the initial design and he created the tooling and created the the 3D markings and everything, the 3D renderings, that the oxygen tanks were completely wrong in the Spitfire that they scanned, and they were different. And it was Luke who picked up on it in the research. So then he had to go away and then redraw and then redesign the tooling for just those two two oxygen tanks, so you can see that it's not just around the corner. And that doesn't go for say FX here, but same with Tamiya, same with Revell. Luke's come on board and they said, well, we're going to release a Meteor. I think it was the F4. Was it the F4 they were going to do, or the V4, whatever it was? The FR4, I think it was. He says, or the 3, sorry. He said, you don't want me doing a 3. You want to do an 8 or a 9. So Luke had that experience to say to Revell, don't do that version, do this one, because you'll get more out of the tooling. So, yeah. And they are going to, and all these manufacturers are going to upset somebody. Oh, you should have done the Mark 12. Oh, you should have done the Mark 4. And you've got all that as well. Doing the Airfix, doing the G, is going to upset those who want to build an E. If you see what I mean, it's difficult. Yeah, I think
it's a very difficult customer base.
Yeah,
scale modeling, because most, I wouldn't say all, because I'm not one of them, but most of the people that buy these kits and build these kits, and they will have a certain knowledge base about that particular subject. So if it's not right or as right as they can get it, they will absolutely pick up on it. So it's a very difficult customer base in the main to try it. You can't, like the others say, you can't please all of the people all of the time. You just can't.
No. Jim, do you go high detailed with your engines on your models, or do you just close them up and then just work on the rivets?
Depends.
Depends, is it?
Depends. So, yes. If I'm building something that I want to, like, maybe portray in a diorama, or I have plans, I mean, yeah, I've thought about doing jets. I mean, completely all opened up. With I was going to do a 32nd scale A6, and it became a shelf queen, and then I gifted it to somebody. But I wanted to do the radar open. I wanted to do avionics bay, all the detail behind the canopy. I was going to pull an engine out, have the engine bay open, have the engine hanging on the pylon, have the pylon. I was going to do all of that.
Wow.
And then it was a trumpeter kit that just fought me in. But so for me, yeah, because I like to build multiples of the same plane. Different models, A6A, A6E, F14A, A plus, B, D, etc. And within that, then I'll do different weapons configurations, or maybe I'll take one and I'll open it up to show all the internals on something.
Yeah.
It just all depends, whatever floats my boat on that particular thing. It's not like I strictly build, one. Everything's all closed up, and or I just build tanks with nothing open, and I just want to get to the weathering part, So I'm all over the place as far as that.
Well, there's not much really into a jet engine, is it? It's just basically a tube with a bit of galvanizing around the outside, isn't it?
Makes it sound like a scaffolding pole, Moz.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said about submarines, there's just two halves joined together, isn't it? You know what I mean? Crumbs the hate I got for that one.
But no, jet engines, I mean, you look at them and it's a tube, but no, maybe the back half, but the whole front half have got, just it's a spaghetti of tubing. And, there are some guys out there gals too, that'll go, just throw a bunch of wire on it and call it good. Well, that just looks like you took a bunch of wire and threw it on, the trick in making it subtle, and the subtlety makes it look good, is all the details that all the tubings are bent, the way they're supposed to be, or as close. And it looks like it's supposed to be like that, and then you add, after all the tubing, then you've got all the wiring and wiring harnesses, and you'll see one wiring harness that's got four bundles of wire that come out, and that's all got to be, looped and painted and properly placed. So there would be a lot to super deep. And then after you've built the thing, now you've got to paint it on all the different shades of metallics and oiled, and it becomes a model within itself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we were saying about the new design of a lot of the kits now. You know, when I mentioned Airfix, Revell have done it with the Meteor. Everything's in subsections, which was never the case 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of building everything as a subsection, you know, you do the cockpit, the tub, everything, then you do the engine, and then, you know, and you do the wheelbase, you know, everything's all done. Then all of a sudden, you spend a couple of weeks doing that, and you're thinking, I'm not getting very far here, am I? But then once you whack it all in, put the fuselage together, the plane's almost built. And I think that's another thing, you know, as long as, yeah. And the two things I would improve on with any kit is that the parts go in sequence on a bloody sprue. You don't want to be jumping for sprue A, then to sprue D, then to sprue F, then back to B, then down to, you know, that trumpeter kits are very much like that. I know it's all to do with how they can get it on the tooling. I get all that. But you know, when you get a kit that's well thought out, like the Qatari, like the Airfix, and the bits are almost all on the same sprue, and you're building that subsection up, then you move on to the next one. Before you know it, you've got 3 or 4 bits all built together. Then they all slot in nice into that, into the fuselage, and that bang, and there's your engine. So you know, Revell did a V8 engine, a working plastic one. Yeah, Airfix did as well, battery powered. But as I said, we talked about that, saying it was a bit too toy-like. But yeah, I get all these questions. And
what I would like to add on to that, though, you know, and it was preached to me at a young age. You get, you know, Maj, you spoke to it earlier about getting 3 weeks and you've lost all interest. And there's a lot of modelers out there that are like that. But then you get back to the bang for your buck. You know, a lot of guys get ridiculed for spending a lot of money on a model and aftermarket. But the return on the hours that they put into that, because they build in sub-assemblies. And when you build in sub-assemblies, that sub-assembly is the model. Forget everything else. You know, I'm going to do the canopy. I'm going to polish the canopy. I'm going to do all the detail within the canopy. And then I'm going to get it all done. And then I'm going to move on to the next mini model. And you get all these mini models done. And then it all comes together into this one big, hopefully, great piece that you've done. I've never gotten really worked up on the amount of time I spend on something, because at the end, I'm looking towards the end that I want something really nice at the end, and I'm willing to put in the time and the effort. But then I look over, I don't have enough time to finish them all. That's the frustrating thing.
You can, depending on what you want to achieve. So, for example, if you look at the Best in Show winner at Telford this year, that was an F4 Phantom, but it was hyper detailed. Like Jim said, everything on it is a model in itself, from the avionics bays, the undercarriage bays, the radar, the cockpit. Everything is a model in its right, and that would have took the builder a year at least to put that together. But then I've got an F4 to build for our group build in the club. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to build it out the box, pretty much.
Yeah.
He says now. Pretty much out the box, and that will take me a couple of months max, really, to do that. But I've spent 30 quid on that model. The person that built the one that won Telford in this year, 25, probably spent hundreds to achieve the end result that they wanted. And it paid off because they were Best in Show, and it's a fantastic example of a 48 scale F4. I would argue you're not going to find one better, because of the time and the effort and the sub-assemblies and everything that went into it.
And it was done well. Most importantly, you can spend a lot of money on aftermarket, but if you can make a mess of it too.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, when he's
Look at that scaffolding tube next to it.
yeah, I know. Look at the state of it, man. But, like I'm saying, but he actually designed.
Yeah.
If I'm right, he didn't buy any of the fixture. He designed them himself with a 3D printer.
Yeah.
But then that was also the thing is that if you look at that kit, this was one of the things I was going to go and get Andy on next year and talk about how it went this year for him. That kit, when you look at it, the hours and everything, would they have thought to themselves, "Oh, he's done this without the judges," because he put up all the 3D, he put up QR codes, didn't he, on how he designed it and stuff.
Yeah.
Did that give him an unfair advantage to
No,
win?
because he's done the work.
He's done the work. But that was
and the execution of the final thing.
Most importantly, the execution.
He's done well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how many failed prints, how many failed 3D CAD designs have gone into every single 3D design and print that have then gone onto that model? There'll be loads.
Yeah.
So by him demonstrating how much work he's put in, as I'm sure Jim will testify, IPMS judges don't reward effort.
No.
It means nothing. It doesn't give anyone an unfair advantage. What's important is how it's finished, how it's done. Is it constructed correctly? Is the paint good? Is the weathering good? Is it appropriate? Do the panel lines actually make sense and just not drift off into fucking oblivion? Or sworn again, sorry. You know, that's what's important. It's not, you know, for someone to build an F4 Phantom that's never built an aircraft before, they probably have to put a lot of effort into that. It's going to blow their mind. But it still might look like a melted welly at the end of it. You know, it's not about how much effort you put in. It's about how good you are.
Yeah. It's elevated. Just look at the pictures. It's Ella. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
It is absolutely. Even the weathering on it, just enough. Just enough.
I had a good friend of mine used to say, and that taught me a lot about judging, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would shake their head at me right now. But they would, you know, he always used to say, it's not how hard you train for the race.
It's how you run the race. Yeah.
It's who finishes first.
Exactly that.
You can have 3 Hellenic F4 Phantoms that are all opened up. You can have one guy that designed in 3D, one guy that bought all aftermarket, and one guy that scratch built everything. Is one better than the other? No, it doesn't matter. It's the one who, as a whole, finished the race. Which one's done the best? Which one has the least mistakes? Which one has the less blue? It's the most straight and looks the part. You know. And if you get too, you know, and you start whittling it down, you know, it's just a process, an evolution, and it's different. It's absolutely different on every single model category that you judge, because it's different models. It's the same philosophy, or it's the same criteria, but then it gets expanded upon as you go through the process. I think
you could equate that, couldn't you, to most forms of competition. So, for example, if you are a Thai boxer and you've trained in Thai boxing for 20 years, you could get into the ring, and anyone that's never been in a ring, it's difficult to put yourself on offer, basically, to get into a ring. Anyone that gets into a ring has my respect. You get into a ring with someone that decided they want to fight, they want to take part in a Thai boxing event, and they've been training for 6 months. The person that's got the decade of experience will have to work at a lot less, put less effort into that fight than someone that's been doing it for 6 months. But the end result is going to be The person that's better at it is going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So effort is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The person who loses has probably put more effort in because they've had to work harder. You run 5 miles. Well, the fat guy's working a lot harder than someone who isn't as fat. But the person that isn't as fat is going to cross the line first.
Yeah,
that's what counts. It's a competition.
The skinny guy running the marathon's probably going to cross first before the fat guy, you know?
Yeah, but the fat guy's working harder.
And the fat guy's working harder, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's a competition.
That would be the fat guy.
Yeah.
Not even be running the marathon.
It's a competition. And people that are better at it are going to come first. That's just the nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for your name on here, Luke.
Pardon?
I'm looking for your name in all the winners.
I didn't enter this year, mate.
Did you enter anything this year?
No.
Well, I should have put something in. I would have had half a chance then, wouldn't I? No, there are some really good ones this year, some cracking models.
Yes, and there always is. There always is. And, you know, people knock IPMS shows and the judging and whatever. But certainly here in the UK, and I would argue for most IPMS clubs throughout Europe, Scale Model World, Telford, is if you get gold there, you know you've done a good job.
Yeah.
If you get first place, you know you've done a good job. If you don't, then you take that away as a lesson learned that you weren't good enough on the day. You know, it is what it is. Work harder, do better, or
build a better model.
Because competition might not be for you.
Yeah. Lox9 makes a great point here. Like me, I never throw models away. When I do build, it gets finished or ends up on the shelf as I've spent money on that kit. I can't tell you how many times I'm 3 months into a build. I'm sick of it. I've got a lot of money in it, and I'm just like fighting the urge just to shit can the whole thing. And I'm like, no, stick with this. Stick with this. You can't just throw it away.
No,
so
I'm the exact opposite. I throw models away all the time.
Oh.
Especially built and finished models. I throw those away a lot.
Oh.
I know. Don't tell me about it. It's, you know, that pain I feel. It's like I've just caught my foreskin in my flies when he said it. Like, it's like, oh no! But then again, he's there chucking away models, but then he goes and buys a second-hand one, all built.
I did, yeah. I did.
Yeah,
I'd rather have it for myself than what I've done myself.
That was a steal.
Yeah.
With the finished models, I tend to give them away. The sad fact about this is that when I do give them away, I generally have to give away quite a lot of money with them.
Yeah.
Pay someone to buy them.
Rob Raymond Seuss there just said, brilliant. CCC, it's a hobby. Leave the clock at work.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he was about to say that, Moz. Yeah.
I don't know, Dan. You do some sterling work, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, to chuck him away, you know, like I said, I battled with that lifeboat, and I got to the point of thinking I'm just going to start again and get another one. I think, you know, and then I carried on with it, and now it's on display at the local lifeboat shop, you know, RNLI, and it's right next to the starter kits already, so they can see it built and see. And I'm assuming that they sold quite a few of those starter sets because they've seen the finished build in real life, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah,
I've donated my old builds to the club, and they sell them on eBay.
Yeah,
for club funds.
Yeah, it's a good shout. But who wants them? That's the thing. You know, I've got loads in display. I think Celtic West is the same. We've got quite a few displayed at the local library here. You know, it's you know, upstairs in my attic. I said to, I think I was saying to you, Luke, at Telford when I was chatting with you, I was somebody in Black Rifles, and I was saying that I've got kits that I've built in the 90s, you know, just bubble wrapped up in a box, and I'm looking at them, and they are shit. They are shit. You know, well, shit in the sense of what I do now is far superior, but then 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I was using enamel paints with a hairy stick. There was no weathering, and there weren't no effing
Wrong with that.
either. And when it come to rigging, it was a case of sprue over a candle and pull.
Yeah.
None of this elastical stuff. You know what I mean? It's definitely one of them. But as I said, if you feel you can, I see them on eBay built and they go for 20, 30 quid. But 20 or 30 quid's another model kit.
Yeah.
And if you're like me, if you saw that deal on Hobbycraft this week, they had the Saturn V, they had the Shuttle and the Artemis, all for £24.99, half price.
What?
So what I did was I bought two. I bought the Saturn and I bought the Space Shuttle. Came to 50 quid, but they also had a 3 for 2 deal on. So I got the Artemis as well for free. So I've got for £49, including free delivery, I got £150 worth of Airfix gift sets. And they all come within 2 days. I got them in there, so I'm going to give them away as prizes for the quiz. So, Alex, you're a gentleman and a squire. Thank you. We salute you for the super chat. Thanks, Moz, for all the time you put into the channel and how much interest in the team. Provide us. Grab a bottle of something for yourself, Merry Crimbo. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure I will probably use that money to pay for the licensing for this stuff. So, but yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. If they're priced right on eBay, I guess they'll sell. But I always see people selling absolute shite on eBay for hundreds of pounds. Yeah, I know. And they don't sell either. But then also with all the fees and everything, it's a lot of money. So to sell something on eBay, better off on Vinted. Mike Rinaldi was selling stuff on eBay for silly money, but he did spend 800 hours weathering them. Yeah, it's true. That's what always puzzles me when a model builder wouldn't want to finish kit, and the prices I sometimes see can be crazy. Yeah, I get that. Right, it's 1 minute to 10. I think we've pretty much done that. Everyone here, I would like to wish all of the Airfix and Chill posse a wonderful Merry Christmas. Again, to the panel, thank you so much for joining me this year on Airfix and Chill. We're episode 163. You know what? It's quite, and that's not including all the add-ons that we've had over the years. It's been going now 3 years, just over 3 years. We've been doing this, and there's always something to talk about, isn't there? I always try and pick a subject. We end up back on Airfix. I don't know why. We try not to. I promise you.
I've often wondered why that is. Quite honestly,
But I think if we were living in the Czech Republic, it would all head back to Edard. Why aren't they doing tanks? Why aren't they doing this? You know what I mean? It's a really difficult. And I've said many a times, I kind of regret ever calling it Airfix and Chill, but it was, as I keep explaining, it's a tongue in cheek to Netflix and Chill. It was just a little, but yeah, and Airfix have never told me off for it. I think they like it actually. They see the joke behind it. But they won't let me produce my Airfix 148 T-shirts that I'm desperately trying to get made and sell because people like them. So, but yeah, again, Luke, Zinzant, Mike, Jim, Barry, John, and Simon's jumped in. He's had troubles with his things because every time he's come on tonight, it's been a black screen, so I can't add you then for some reason. But anyways, again, to everyone, thank you so much for supporting us. We will be back in the new year, which will be on the, if I look at my Airfix calendar, I think we're back on the 5th. What day are we back? It'll be the 5th. It'll be the 5th of January. And then on the 12th will be Airfix and Chill. And we'll talk about Airfix, what we think they're going to release. Then on the Wednesday, we'll have it starts at 3:30 on the Wednesday, the 14th of January. It will be our annual Airfix launch. So we'll be watching it live, commentating on it, what we think's good, what think's bad. And I've spoken to Dale, and he's willing to pop on with Matt, the I I know Dale's head of brand, and I think Matt is head of development or something, and also Clint, head of research. Well, hopefully all three of them will be on to talk to us about it.
Mars. Who's won the Hampton?
Oh yeah, the Hampton. Right, that's my last point. I was going to go into this. So this Hampton was won by Pete McDubbs. Pete McDubbs. If you contact me on Discord, I need your address and I'll send this up to you. And you've won that. Congratulations on winning this Hampden. And to all those who have joined us on Discord, if you find it a good community, it's been great to have you all on board as well. And remember, next Monday will be the quiz. And that's everything. I think that's done. Thank you so much for watching us for this year. And we'll see you next year. God bless you all. Have a good Christmas.
Merry
and a
Christmas.
happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Take care all.
Happy
And good night.
New Year.